clearly the Labour Party sees Reform UK as their main challenge. You might have heard on this show yesterday Professor Sir John Curtis, who is the leading what's called cephalogist or pollster in the country, saying that unless economics come their way or there's the most extraordinary turn of events, he cannot see Labour salvaging the situation by the next general election. So don't worry what I say. Sir John is an extraordinarily guy who gets it. I think, to my knowledge, he's got it right every single time. I can't remember when he got anything wrong. But they're also, I need to say on the other side, they are also, as Sir John said in his speech at the conference, why is it you say conference? Why can't it be the conference? No, speech at the conference, that they're also hemorrhaging a lot of votes or a lot of support to the Greens and the Lib Dems on the other side. So Labour are really being squeezed. But was there a mention of Sir Ed Davey? No. Was there a mention of Zach Polanski and the Greens? No. Was there a mention of Nigel Farage and Reform UK yesterday during that 52-minute Prime Ministerial speech? Not half.
When was the last time that you heard Nigel Farage say anything positive about Britain's future? He can't. He doesn't like Britain, doesn't believe in Britain, wants you to doubt it just as much as he does. So let me say this, because whilst we must come together to fight reform with everything that this movement has, we must go into that battle armed. Do they really want to fix our problems and renew Britain? Or, as we've seen time and again, whether it's the SNP, the extremes of the left, or Reform and the Tories now, do they actually want Britain to fail?
Just minutes after the Prime Minister had finished speaking, and this, as I said earlier, to show how the dynamics are changing, because the Prime Minister gave a speech yesterday to the party faithful, much as they did in the 2010s, in the 2000s, in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s. Nothing has changed. To quote Theresa May, nothing has changed. But within minutes now, of course, using social media, the leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage, popped up and said,
"Never before have I seen one name so dominate a conference, and the remarkable thing is it's somebody that isn't even a member of the Labour Party. Yes, it's me, Nigel Farage, and I thought the Mac cartoon on the front of today's Telegraph summed the whole thing up rather beautifully. The sketch was two delegates leaving the Labour Party conference, one saying to the other, next year we're going to the Reform conference because they don't talk about Nigel Farage all the time." It has been obsessive, whether it's the Home Secretary, whether it's the Health Secretary. It is a constant attack on me and what I stand for and what we as Reform UK, a party that has led the opinion polls now for over 100 polls. It's an attack on everything that we stand for and believe in. What I've learnt this week is that the government are incapable of beating us on our arguments. And as a result, the Prime Minister has decided to descend into the gutter and all of his cabinet with him.
That was Nigel Farage. He has a piece in one of your newspapers this morning, the Daily Mail, in which it ends, "Mark my words, Reform will teach Keir Starmer and the Labour Party a lesson at the ballot box." He's referring, of course, what he likes to call them the midterms, an American equivalent, or the British equivalent of the American midterms, I should say. These are elections in London and other parts of England, in Scotland and in Wales. Now, about 2 hours, 1.5, 2 hours after the Prime Minister had finished speech, I had an opportunity to speak briefly with him, and I asked him about his insistence to keep mentioning Nigel Farage.
Minutes after you did your speech, and congratulations, I could see how well it went down in the hall we're sitting in now, so well done. But Nigel Farage came up, as you're probably aware, and claimed you had an obsession with him. How concerned are you that he says some of your comments could have put him at risk?
No, that's not the case.
Respectfully, that's what Mr Farage says, Prime Minister.
Well, he says a lot of things that I don't agree with. I am concerned to make the argument, and I will, on behalf of the country that I love. This tolerant, beautiful, diverse country where we pull together as a country. I am deeply concerned about reform because I think they will toxically divide our country and rip it apart. And I'm up for that fight because I think it is the fight of our times. It goes to the soul of who we are as a country.
But you mentioned Mr Farage 5 times, almost as much as you did your late father. You are mildly obsessed, aren't you?
No, not at all. There is a political divide, the like of which we have not seen in this country. You know, we traditionally have Labour versus the Tories. That is not the fight next time around. This is not peculiar to the United Kingdom. You can see it all across Europe. The centre-right parties are withering on the vine, as the Tories are. It is a different fight. It goes to a more fundamental issue, which is who are we as a country. Okay. And it's really important that I go out and fight for and defend for the country that I love, that I am a patriot of.
And you're going to still smash the gangs, lastly. Mr Farage pointed out 400 people arrived today. You're still smashing the gangs. We will not surrender our borders. Prime Minister.
We will not surrender our borders.
But 400 arrived today, Prime Minister.
I appreciate that, and we're working really hard to bring those numbers down. I'd just point this out, Nick, if I may. We are passing a borders bill, which is to give more powers to law enforcement at the borders. What did Nigel Farage do? He voted against it. We've got a returns deal with France, means we can return people to France. What does Farage say he'll do? He says he'll pull that down. We want to have ID cards so that you cannot work in our economy illegally. What does Farage do? He says he doesn't want it. Common factor here, he doesn't want to fix this problem, because if the boats stop coming across the channel, then he knows that his political currency goes down. He doesn't want to fix the problem. He wants to feed off it. That's the difference.
Why did they not, as one colleague said, why just ignore him? Don't reference reform. Don't reference Nigel Farage. Just get on with what you can say you've achieved and say what you can achieve. All you do is, of course, feed the beast, put wind in the sails. But the Prime Minister was not the only one to bang on about them. Here's DPN, Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy.
I'm not going to play the man. I'm playing the ball as our leader did. I will leave it for the public to come to their own judgments about someone who once flirted with Hitler Youth when he was younger.
I won't play the man, I'll play the ball. And then he does what seems to be a totally unfounded slur, because 2 hours later he was back on the BBC.
He has denied it, and so I accept that he has denied it, and I would like to clarify that position, because in the end the Prime Minister was keen for us to focus on the policies, not the individual.
Having had the benefit of being up in Liverpool and mixing and having the opportunity to speak with some senior members of the government and others and party workers and whatever else, as I said in the first hour of the show, whatever happens at the midterms or the local elections next March, and I think the government will be in for quite a kicking, by the way. Whatever happens then, at the next general election currently, if, as the polls showed last weekend, if the votes go the way the poll's going, 267 Labour MPs would lose their seats. 267 of 401 would be gone. They wouldn't all go, I hasten to add, to Reform, but a fair old chunk would. Reform would be the biggest single party, so they would be the kingmakers potential. Well, they would be looking for a kingmaker so that they could be in a position of power. So what has happened is, in the space of a few years, Reform have gone from not even existing to, I say, almost without doubt, being the opposition, at the very least, at the next general election. And in part, it is fed by the speeches that you heard from the Health Secretary and others, the work and pensions, everyone else, and indeed the Prime Minister for that matter. So it is an obsession with them, and all they're doing is, to use that expression, feeding the beast.
Contrary, I think, to your position, I would support Starmer's approach. I think Farage's approach is invidious. It's trying to adopt wholesale the policies and the processes and the way America is behaving just now, which frankly is disgusting. And why do we want to import that to this country? That's far more of an existential danger to us than anything that I've seen in my lifetime.
Why has it gained such popularity, do you think, the Reform Party?
Misinformation and a focus from the media, and I'm afraid to say yourself, I mean, the question of when they only have 5 members of Parliament, why are they receiving such attention? Well, on the flip side, Nick, and yesterday or last week or whatever, I've heard you yourself say, well, they're scoring so highly in the polls.
But it's not just me, Nathan. You could ask the Prime Minister, why did you devote so much of your time, yesterday to reform. You could ask the Deputy Prime Minister, why did you decide to say that Nigel Farage had some kind of alliance with Adolf Hitler? You could ask the Health Secretary why he talked about Wes Streeting, why he talked about Nigel Farage and said that he's not as attractive as Brad Pitt. It's not the media's obsession, it's the government's obsession, Nathan.
No, I disagree. I think they're obliged
three
to answer.
people, Nathan. I've just told you the Health Secretary, the DPM and the Prime Minister.
Fantastic. But that's not my point. Yes, they have focused upon them, and they focus upon them because they see them as an existential threat, supported by the mainstream media and other interests. Other interests who, for instance, would love to take over our NHS. This is all about profit and money making. Farage is a puppet of, and he's a puppet of whomever will pay the bills for him, and whoever will make him richer, wealthier, more popular, more famous. There is no genuine position from Farage. You've seen that through the years yourself.
And there is, lastly, a genuine position from Sir Keir.
Yes. He doesn't like racists.
What is,
much like myself.
Right. What is that genuine position as regards running the country?
Well, the man's trying to improve a lot. I mean, he's only been there for a year, and all of a sudden he's responsible for everything the Tories have done in 14 years.
Okay. He's only been there, it's actually a little over a year, it's about 15 months. He's only been there for a year. Are we going to say that in a year's time? He's only been there 2 years. How long is that argument going to hold? David's in Hampstead. David, was it the right path to take? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Great show.
Oh, thank you.
It's so telling that he didn't really talk about what they've supposedly achieved in 15 months. It was just Farage. And actually, what's quite interesting what occurred to me is I remember just over a year ago, on all dates, September the 11th, I actually phoned your show and I said to you, Nick, I bet you actually made a bet for a loneliness charity.
Oh, go on. Sorry, do I owe you money? I'm so sorry.
Well, no, not me. It'll be the charity.
Oh, right, yeah, of course, yeah.
I said, I'll match your donation, Nick. But anyway, I said that I guarantee that in 12 months, under Labour, the country will not be in a better position than it is, well, now, which was then. And, I mean, they've got to the point where
Did I say that it would be?
Well, I think you said, let's see, we don't know.
Ah, okay, right.
Well,
okay,
and the thing is, they really have no policies that they can turn to. And governments normally have like that one thing they just bang on about, and they'll say, we've done that. They don't even have that. They can't really turn to anything because they've literally just, stabbed in the back, farmers, waspy women, pensioners, like you name it. They've just got everybody, and it's just they can't do anything other than, I mean, ironically, attack the man. It's literally all they're doing now.
Yes, it is. Yeah, they are playing the man and not the ball now, aren't they?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And other parties are also jumping on the Farage bandwagon, other than, I think, the kind of loony fringe parties like the Greens and Jeremy Corbyn's party.
Well, I don't know if everybody thinks they're loony and on the fringe. David, thank you. By the way, if you do send me an email, if I do owe money to a charity, I wouldn't want to think that I don't pay out my bet. I don't know necessarily that I quite owe the money yet, but if you think I do, I'm happy to resolve that. David, have a good one. Thank you. Ify says, I'm not a fan of the PM banging on about Mr Farage, but for crying out loud, Farage's use of Trumpian language is becoming creepier by the day. When did we welcome the word Antifa in our political correspondence? Political conversation. So sorry. Harry in Gravesend, on the basis reform has the same number of MPs as the Green Party. How many times have you had a Green Party MP on your show over the past 6 months compared to your friend Nigel Farage's party political broadcasts? Don't use the excuse it's because Farage could be the next Prime Minister. You're just a right-wing journalist. Ben in Bermondsey, you're on the radio. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Nick. A long-time listener, but not a fan, but trying to get to know you.
Okay, sir.
All right. Now, this is what I have to say, and I'll be brief.
Please.
Nick, we know your job is to stoke the political arena as a journalist. Hold on. Rather than promote such tense and unhelpful situation in the country, we should be discussing about the policies and the way forward and how the policy might or may not work.
Why didn't he do that, sir? Why didn't the Prime Minister do that?
He did, because first, listen, Nick, these people came in 1 year and 3 months. I used to be a Labour supporter. I was drifting off to the Greens. But after yesterday, and the Prime Minister showing gloves off, it's time to take the fight to the people destroying the image of our country.
Okay. What did he say that really resonated with you, Ben?
Nick, everything he said from the beginning to the end, even the words that he used. Do you notice he's a statesman? He doesn't curse. He doesn't create division. He doesn't use words that will stoke fear. You have to look at the trend. If you compare Prime Minister Keir Starmer to every people like Boris Johnson, compare him. And then Farage hasn't even got into play. But Farage is already creating division, flags flying, rallies, support for this and that. So Farage went as far as going to America to discredit the name of a country that built America.
Okay.
Asking for sanction.
Okay. Why then, if that is what the Prime Minister has achieved, why would he keep mentioning one of the opposition parties?
Okay, Nick, look at it. Tories are not being mentioned anymore because they spent the last 14 years destroying the country. Now, Labour comes in. I'm not going to say they are the best, but a man has been sick for 20 years. He didn't die, but a man comes in to try and heal him up and kept him alive. Now, who do you think will do a better job? Someone trying to cure the country from 14 years.
But I don't think the country is getting better after 14 months, is it?
It's been 1 year and 3 months.
Well,
how do you change something in a year and 3 months that's been destroyed?
You don't take winter fuel payments away from people, do you?
You
honour the promise for waspy women, don't you? Isn't that what you do?
Okay, Nick, I'm 52 years old, yeah? I've been here for 45 years.
Yeah.
You're talking about winter payment. We keep banging about winter payment as if that's the only thing that keeps the country going. No one's talking about the children.
What has he achieved then? Let's come at it the other way. What has he achieved, Ben?
Let's look at it. Have you looked at the record of the NHS?
What has he achieved?
Okay, look at the record of the NHS. Do you see
waiting lists staying exactly where they were 14 months ago?
No.
Well,
I don't know what.
I researched it yesterday.
No, sir. I don't know what record you're looking at. You know the problem. People
exactly
don't talk about
yesterday.
I get it, Nick. I know you represent not the Tories sometimes and the other side of the divide, but sometimes let's let common sense prevail.
You honestly telling me, lastly, Ben, and I'm thoroughly enjoying our conversation, apologies if you're waiting for the news, that my listeners think the NHS is running better now than it did 14 months ago, Ben?
Sir, compare the NHS to when the Tories were on and Boris was building fake annexes and claiming it was hospital? Come on, Nick.